All right, guys, we should be back now. We had a bit of technical difficulties. I'm sorry for that. Um, we'll be back. All right, seems like the audio is working just fine. So hopefully everybody comes back in here shortly. I'll wait for James to get back in here since he asked the original question, which I had answered. Like, the interview starts at 8 o'clock, which is in 26 minutes. So in about 26 minutes, our boy should be here. I'm actually going to go ahead and send the info to him. Please let me know if the audio cuts out again. So sorry about that, guys. So I got a little fat finger. Look at that, three-dimensional fat finger. So sometimes I hit things that I'm not supposed to hit. I don't mean to right now. Apologize for that. But it looks like we're back on track. No big deal. Gotta send the link. All right, so Dennis, welcome. All right, guys, so we got that up. I'm excited for our interview today. I'm actually going to do two separate videos on this. One is going to be the interview we're going to be doing with the CEO. They're going to kind of be linked together. The second one is going to be a review of. Now I'm like, all right, cool. I'm just checking to make sure the audio is still working. I'm all paranoid now. So the first video is going to be this interview, or it may be the second one once I take it down, which we're going to be interviewing one of the developers of Pramp. If you're interested, you want to kind of check it out right now. It's called Pramp, PRAMP.com. So what's cool about them and why I reached out to them is they're actually they're a technical interview practice site. Is how I would explain it, where you can get coding interviews for free. And so we're going to talk about what that entails, how that works, because this is a skill within itself, right? So when a company is going to hire you on, like say I were to leave my company, I have no plans to, in case anybody from VATSI is watching, from my company is watching. But say I would have to go through usually some sort of technical interview. And depending on what technologies I'm using and stuff like that. So what may happen is I would need to be tested on AngularJS, for instance. So what can I expect when it comes to that? How can I do that? And it's a great way for you to be prepared, because if you can't get past the interview, you can never get the job. Doesn't matter how devoted you are. Sometimes you just have to know what you have to know, and it sucks, and I hate it. And it's one of the things I fucking hated about school is like getting tested, right? It's like, look, I can do the stuff, but I don't know. I don't know what I need to memorize for this, right? As a developer, I can learn anything. That's the mentality, and that's the skill that you need to have, is that you need to be able to learn anything and deliver anything that the client wants. And if you have that skill, great. But sometimes to even get to that point, you have to be able to pass the interview. And so that's what Pramp is. It's a practice coding technical interviews, coding interviews for free. And so I'm pretty excited. I'll do a separate Ask a Dev video just showcasing the site, how to prepare for technical interviews, and go from there. But I wanted to interview somebody who started this, and I believe they're out of San Francisco, which isn't really that big of a surprise. Right, are they San Francisco based? Let me see. Let me pull up their LinkedIn. By the way, for fun, if you guys want to see how ridiculous it is, yeah, they're from San Francisco. That how ridiculous rent is in San Francisco. I was checking it out on Zillow the other day, and for like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, it's like 1,000 square feet. It's like $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So Tobias Clausen, welcome, welcome, welcome. Lots of cool stuff, man. But I'm waiting for James to get here because James asked me, hey, have you been able to work on... So wait for me to check who's actually in the chat. James, all right, James, if you're not here, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna answer your question now. Because I know James will try and rewatch this later, or he'll be in another live stream and I'll answer it again. But James asked me, he said, hey, since your hand injury, has this slowed down your side projects? Has this because for a lot of you guys don't know, but I'm kind of jumping around between a lot of different side projects. YouTube takes up a good portion of my time. I work 40 hours a week. I am now I've hurt my hand, so I have actually stopped coding at home since I've had the hand surgery. Now, when it was injured, it didn't stop me. But now that they actually went in and they cut skin out here and they started cutting my finger out, I've stopped because it hurts. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. And I'm already coding with like one hand for 1 hour after work. And then when I tutor April, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I'm also coding 8 hours a day at work, and so I'm getting it checked on Tuesday. And let me tell you, I've been talking about this shit all week. I can't wait for this to come off and see, like, hey, like, because this is uncomfortable. Everything on my hand is very uncomfortable. My finger feels numb. I don't know if that's normal. I kind of think it is, because that's how I felt when I had my wisdom teeth cut out, is I kind of had this sort of numbing feel in my cheeks, and I have the same sort of feeling in my finger. I have no idea what it looks like, so Tuesday I get to see, like, because I cut out a piece of skin right here like this. Am I gonna look like I tried to off myself one time? Like, is that what it looks like now? Or what sort of Dr. Mundo looking finger do I have under here? So I digress. But it has slowed me down. But when you're to stay motivated, I have taken my handicap, my temporary handicap, and I focused my attention on other things. And that's not to say that I couldn't code. I couldn't code after work or anything like that. But I've redevoted my time in a slightly different direction. Now, one of those things we'll talk about. I guess we could talk about it. It's not a big deal. But the first and foremost is that my girlfriend April has decided to learn to code. And so if you're following Code Tech and Caffeine, I actually just pinned the playlist called April Learns to Code, day 100, I think today will be day 5 of 100 days of code. And so what April's been doing is she has been studying for about 2 to 2.5 hours on her own, with a little bit of guidance, right? I'm guiding her along. She's doing free code camp basically, and I'm going to inject my own stuff along the way. We haven't really got to that point yet, and then I am tutoring her for an hour after work. So usually I would spend somewhere between an hour to 90 minutes on my own stuff after work, and then in terms of actual hard coding on projects. And now I am taking that time and I'm devoting it to April for the next 100 days. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to code. It just means that while my hand is jacked up, I'm okay with that being my coding. I gotta put it this. My coding devotion time, if you will, because I'm still doing YouTube and stuff like that. Now, there's also things that I haven't even discussed with April that I plan on doing with this 100 days of code. So I'm teaching April how to code. I'm very happy to do it. So one of the things that she's doing is she's taking notes. What I would like to do, with her permission, of course, is, and I haven't discussed any of this with her, but these are things that I've been thinking in my head, is that I would like to take her notes at the end of 100 days and compile them into a free Code Camp note guide, and then we'll sell them for $5 or $10 as part of a course that I'm developing. And it'd be kind of interesting so that someone could see, hey, this is someone's learning process, someone's notes taking and things like that. And eventually what I may do is when the time comes and she solves the algorithms on her own, if they're different enough, I may actually go ahead and have her do a video to showcase those algorithms as well. But those are some thoughts that I've had. But that's kind of how I've been slowing down. I've also one thing that's also going on is I am so Engineer Truth and he is currently, he bought a 4K drone and he is flying it around the Philippines and getting all these great aerial shots and things like that. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to sell it as stock footage. It's very beautiful, very great stuff, and on various stock photo sites. So that's another way that I'm trying to stay productive and continue. Like, why? The thing is, guys, is I don't feel too bad not coding after work. Like because I'm tutoring April in code, right? And like I might pick up a few things along the way, probably not too many, but I'll also reinforce things. And like yesterday, I was making a mistake with an array because I was tired. So stuff like that happens, and that's fine. But I'll what it'll give me is one, it gives me 100 days of content for the channel. Two, more importantly, April hopefully we'll have an internship at the end of this 100 days, and we'll continue this on. This is not something we're ever going to do again. This is a long time commitment on my end, and I hope that she is ready and prepared for it moving forward. So that's the thing. It's like the hardest thing. I say this to everybody when they're trying to learn to code is code every day. And if I can make sure that April's coding every day, at 100 days, that habit should be cemented into her. And she will either like it and love it and continue it on her own, or she won't. And that has a bunch of connotations with that as well. And I may have wasted my time, but it's just part of the process. You don't really know if it's for you until you've done your 100 days of code, your 30 days of code, whatever it may be. And it's tiring and things like that. But in terms of how it's slowed me down considerably, James, just because I haven't been able to code my side projects. And also part of this is, to give you an idea how recent this is my father visited me this weekend from California, and the day he arrived, I had surgery. So Thursday morning, I got all cut up. He had to take an Uber or a taxi from the airport, and then I spent the whole weekend with him, so I didn't get any work done. As a matter of fact, I went on. This is how crazy like generational differences is. So I don't know about you guys, but as a small YouTuber, I answer a lot of emails. I have comments I respond to. Not so much lately because my hand is all jacked up. But I have to answer emails, sponsorship inquiries, tutoring inquiries, just the usual sort of basic business stuff that comes along with the YouTube channel, even ones as small as mine. But I spent 30 minutes in here working on stuff. I kid you not, no bullshit. It was an hour and a half, 30 minutes. And he used the word addicted to the computer. And it's just like, oh, damn. And like working on YouTube stuff in that 30 minutes. But so not everybody's going to get it, I guess is the point of that. Not everybody understands that, hey, and my dad's good with technology and things like that. And, but it's a different generational thing. He doesn't respect the social media game, and that's fine. Because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand what it can do for you until you already have it. You know what I mean? He doesn't understand that, like, if YouTube was making me $100,000 a year, he might respect it because of the pure numbers, right? But anyhow, so that, yeah. Working on a computer, he understands that it's so I'll give you an example of why he does understand that like my job, right? My actual job as a developer, he really likes that because he's seen stats about everything that shows what a great career choice it is. The job creation, the financial security in terms of being one of the higher salaries, the demand. So like using the computer for that makes a lot of sense to him because all the numbers back it up. There's not really any numbers that are showing you that it's a bad choice. But he's taking the time to educate himself on that. Now, his world, he doesn't even watch YouTube videos, right? So how could he respect the YouTube grind? And it's it goes like anything else. And that doesn't mean even if you do make it that your parents will be accepting of it. Engineer Truth is making $10K to $20K a month, and his parents still don't respect it. So don't. But that's the thing, guys, is the people closest to you, whether they mean to or not, are the ones who will tell you you can't do this, or that's a bad choice. It's not a safe choice. You should be doing this instead. And sometimes they mean it to help you out, or they're just doing what worked for them and they want you. But, you have to think, like my dad is 2 years from retirement. Like he's 2 years before he's taken out Social Security, guys. So he's 60 years old. YouTube doesn't make any, not that YouTube doesn't make sense. Videos make sense. He's worked in the television industry, so he gets all that. But social media doesn't make sense to him in terms of a business opportunity. He understands what social media is, uses Facebook, but he doesn't get what sort of business opportunities come along with it. And so I think to really hammer it home with someone who's 60 years old at the end of the day and is somewhat stuck in their ways, as we all are to a certain degree. I think to hammer that in, what really has to be is just overwhelmingly cash money. That's what I think. I don't think he's gonna fully understand. Next time he's here, let's say YouTube's making me $250,000. I'm balling out of control, just balling out of control. And he's like, Dylan, I can't. What are you doing? You said you need to spend an hour on the computer. Why? You seem so addicted. Because it makes me $250,000. Oh, okay. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. But that's the thing. It's like I respond to emails and tweets and comments, and I have to work on stuff for sponsorships that are going on in the background. He doesn't get all that, and that's fine. But you have to be confident enough that say, hey, I understand you don't get it, and I understand that you think that I should be doing something else. But it is your life, or in my case, it is my life. And I know that this is good for me in the long run. I know that I'm learning a lot. You could make the argument that every time I am interviewing one of these developers, CEOs, I'm interviewing CEOs, guys, of these little things, co-founders, very interesting people who are building products and stuff like that. And it's the best networking anybody could have. If all I got was networking from this stuff, that'd be worth it in the end. Now I'm trying to get that cash money. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't even know how we got to talk on it. Am I just talking about my daddy issues right now? Is that what's going on? But yeah, so we're going to be selling Engineer Truth is taking the videos. I'm handling all the maintenance of it, the chopping up of the clips, the posting, the selling, the kind of the admin sort of stuff. I'm handling all that. He's recording. He put the money up for the drone for his channel and whatnot. And I'll be handling it all, and we're going to split the revenue. And also, so once I'm done with that, it's kind of like a test thing. We have a ton of videos, and we like the idea. We just don't know how. We don't really know if they're going to sell. I mean, they could, and for how much, and I'm doing all that research. And then we're going to split the profits 50-50. So that's the game plan right now. It's a very interesting thing because if you notice, I don't really talk about finances too much on my channel. That's not really my bread and butter, right? I'll probably do one video about investing, and I'll give it some clickbaity title. So when you see this super clickbaity title, I'll do probably 2 videos. I'll do one that's super clickbaity. I'll be like, the best advice I could ever give you. That's it right there. And then I'll do how I invest my money. And one of the things about investing is having residual income. So this is another way of building residual income. One of the reasons I like YouTube so much is it's another way of having residual income. So if you take something like AdSense and you say, okay, how much does YouTube AdSense make me? And if you talk about how many hours a week I put into this, I would say probably, if you don't count the coding projects, which I don't, because those are learning things, I would say I put about 10 hours a week into YouTube right now, not counting the past. And I'm making about $330 to $350 a month. So we'll just say $350. So to get a return of $350 every month on an investment that's giving you back 10%, you'd have to have $35,000 invested if you think about it. And that's quite a bit of money. But this is residual money. Granted, it fluctuates, and there's good months, there's bad months, but you also have sponsorships and all this other stuff. So it's not completely passive income by any means. But you know that's the goal, right? The goal for me, anyhow, is to eventually have enough passive income that I can work on my own projects, or I could just be financially secure. I think that really should be everybody's goal. And in terms of savings and investings, things like that, I save 20% right now of every paycheck and invest it. I don't actually save it, I invest it. I have very little money in my bank account ever, but I invest 20% of my paycheck. And I plan on going eventually up to 50%. That is the game plan. So I encourage you guys to live below your means as well, and invest as much as you can. It's hard when you're, you can't pay your bills, but if you can get to 10%, start at 10% and go from there. That's the best thing that you could ever do is 10%. And that's not to say that you shouldn't use your investment money. I use my interest, even though I'm putting in 20% of my interest right now, I'm getting back like $50, $60, $70 a month in investment money. I actually take that money out and use it to pay for bills and things like that, because I invest so much, because I want to invest even larger amounts of money. But we'll talk all about that in detail in a video. Our CEO and co-founder of Pramp.com should be here in a few minutes, guys. I appreciate everybody for being here. But does anybody have any questions before we get going here? I've been rambling for a bit. Sometimes you guys like that. Sometimes you don't. And if you aren't already a member of our Facebook group, Code Tech and Caffeine, the link is in the description below, as well as the Patreon page where you can support me there. Those are great ways to help us reach our 4K goals. 4K goal being a 4K webcam, a 4K monitor for screen shares, and eventually some lighting issues so that I can make some good videos. Half my face is paler. Darker pale, pale. Darker pale, pale. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm not, by the way, Badman Mike, I'm not making $90K a year. I'm probably, with YouTube and my salary, going to clear somewhere around this year, somewhere around 75 this year, which isn't too bad. To put in perspective, I was making 45 8 months ago. So that's quite the jump, you know what I'm saying? So I hope to make another jump like that in the coming year. And I'm going to do that through a variety of ways, whether it be the stock footage, whether it be my course. I'm actually going to be talking a bit about, when my hand's healed, I'm going to be recording some stuff for Engineered Truths course. That's going to his YouTube course. It's doing very well. I'm very happy for him. And I'll be talking about how to use your channel, not necessarily for a direct monetary gain, but actually as a career path and how to go about that. And I'll be trying to sell that as well. And I can, as someone who's who has access to the course, and the videos are all very high quality. And me, I know that I'll be giving the sort of, how do I put it? The sort of as someone who knows that I'll be adding a different set of value to it. I'll feel very, very comfortable trying to market it to people who are interested in that, because I know what I'm saying is true. I'm not giving advice so much as explaining what worked for me, and it could work for you too. And I think that's probably the biggest problem I have with people giving advice, is that sometimes they don't take it, even though, like, it's not advice they've ever taken. It's just shit that they think sounds good, but they've never done, right? So like when I say that you should invest 10% of your money, no matter how broke you are, 45K in LA is nothing. And so, I mean, you're talking about poverty at 45K, and so I still invested 10% of my income, and I encourage you to do the same. That's all what I'm trying to say. As like when I say that stuff, it's not like me just talking out of my ass. These are good skills that I've picked up. That the moment I could invest money, that was at 45,000. That was enough for me to start investing money. I did. And I'm slowly starting to see fruits of that labor. Not a ton, but you know, slow and steady, man. Slow and motherfucking steady. Hopefully our guest shows up. You guys are all quiet today, man. There's only a few of us in here. But I guess I can keep rambling. So I confirmed yesterday, and I sent him the link this morning. Chat party? Hey. Chat party. Well, if our guest doesn't show up, how about this, guys? If my guest doesn't show up by 8:30, which is in 30 minutes, why don't I'll give somebody 15 minutes to pick my brain, and I'll actually, if you want, invite you to the call. So whatever's going on in your life, we will let you have a one-on-one conversation that we can. I don't know. Would you guys like something like that? I feel like people have asked me for this before. I'm not saying this to kind of sound egotistical, like, oh man, it's such a great gift to talk to Dylan. As a matter of fact, don't even call me Dylan. You better be calling me Coding Tutorials 360 while we're talking. But this is something some people have requested in the past, so that's why I bring it up. But maybe we'll do like a 15-minute ask questions, sort of like, you know, because a lot of times I answer general questions, right? And during these live streams, I answer a lot of things, but I try to relate it generally to you, but you can't really give me a ton of feedback. So like you say, hey, is boot camp a good choice? I'll say yes every time. Now, it depends on your situation. It depends on you. It depends on your finances. It depends on a lot of things. And we can't dive into those details. But generally speaking, getting into coding in any fashion is a good decision. But we'd be able to dive more into it. So that's just something I'm thinking about. All right, our guest should be here any moment. By the way, guys, if you want to support the channel, we have the super chats, we have the Patreons, we have all that sort of stuff. Your money goes towards, not into my pocket per se, but it goes towards buying stuff for the channel. Every month, my Patreon page actually is breaking me even on what it costs to run this channel. I have a $30 Adobe subscription I only use for the channel. And then I also have a web page for the channel. And any additional money goes towards upgrading 4K. Right now, we're breaking even on it. But I'd love to get that up just a little bit, where we get a little bit of money coming in every month. And there's some rewards and things on there. and you'll get some, depending on where you get, I'll send you some 360 coding tutorials, 360 stickers for your laptop. So here's something that I'm working on. All right, I'm actually going to be working on, I should say, is I plan on making a developer store. So a while back, I got sponsored by a company called Varianto25.com. Now, what they are is they're a store for developers, and I'm a big fan of their products. If you look behind me, I have these 3 posters, and those all came from Varianto25. And I've always really liked the idea. And so moving forward, when my hand is healed, and I'll have to make the decision if I'm going to build it myself. I'm leaning towards not, because there's already going to be a large financial burden on me to have stock physical items, because there are sites that you could go and they'll handle all that, and you'll make about, on a $5 sticker sale, that normally, let's say I sent you 5 of these at $1 a piece, right? These are just random JavaScript stickers, coding tutorials 360. I let you pick and mix and match. And they were $1 a piece. And you had to, we're not worried about shipping. We're just worried about pure cost. And I'll let you choose whatever you want. 5 to 10. We'll say 10. 10 stickers. Cost-wise, depending on how many you buy, it all depends. But cost-wise, for when I bought 1,000 of those, I think it came to like 12 cents a sticker, 17 cents a sticker. Like, it was pretty cheap for that. So to give you an idea, if I have 10 of those and I sell them to you, we'll say they're $0.25 a piece, which is way more than they are, but $0.25 a piece, and I sell you 10 of those. So $2.50 is the cost out of pocket. So you're making $7.50 roughly in profit. Now, a lot of stuff goes into that. You have to consider shipping and tax and all that sort of stuff. We're working with rough numbers, $7.50. Now, if I were to sell this at like one of those companies that handles all the actual physical merchandise of it, but you get to use their platform and stuff like that, of that $7.50, you might get $1. So you're really making no money, and they're making all the money. So instead, but the trade-off is you have to have capital to buy the stock, and you have to take that risk. If you know anything about me, I'm all about educated risks. Is there a risk? Yes, of course there is. So is this business or JavaScript? Hey, this brings up a good point. Is as a developer, you're in a unique situation in where you have a skill set that can be used in the business world, and you could work for yourself. And so you have to decide what type of developer you want to be. A lot of people learn code because they have an idea, or they have a product, they want to build a website for it. They want to build something like that. This is all very important stuff, and it goes hand in hand with being a developer, right? It doesn't have to, but it's not uncommon. Now, and this is pretty true too. If you're a fan of Chris Hawks, I think I'm messing up his first name, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. He just did a video talking about there's 2 types of programmers: the very intellectual, analytical type that are kind of like your super nerds, if you will, and the type that are very practical and want to do practical things with their coding skills, the bulk of programmers. So I want to start a business. I want to just learn a good skill set and work at a business, build stuff for a business, not necessarily build like frameworks and stuff. And it's a very common thing. Now take that to the next level, where back in my case, I am taking educated risk. When I dropped out of school and I started studying coding, the educated risk was that I am going to take a risk that by putting my education on halt or just ending it completely, that I am going to fuck myself. Now, the payoff is that I thought that I could learn such an in-demand skill and through various ways be an interesting candidate to get a salaried web developer job, and it paid off. Now, come to the present where I'm taking another educated risk where, let's say I take $2,000, a large amount of money for me. Maybe not for some people. I would say for most people, $2,000 is a large amount of money. More than I have in my bank account right now. mind you. I usually have about $1,000 floating in my bank account. So say I take $2,000, and that $2,000 is used for buying stock. And so when you're buying stuff like this, what you're going to be taking some educated risks where I'm risking $2,000. I have to sell, let's say, 20% of it to get my money back. Everything else will be profit and go towards overhead. If you're not familiar with what overhead is like what it costs to basically maintain your business. That could be salaries. That could be actually, I believe salaries falls under a different thing. But overhead would be like lighting. It would be rent, things like that. In my case, we're doing this out of the house, right? It's going to be out of the office. So there's all that stuff's already factored into other things. But so in my case, I say, okay, the educated risk is that I'm going to take money, I'm going to buy stuff, I'm going to design stuff. And there's going to be a time risk. There's going to be a money risk, and I'm taking a gamble that I could sell stuff. Now, why is this an educated risk and just not a risk? Well, because I have an audience for one. I have some people I could sell it to, and an audience that I'm not building something that's out of the realm of possibility. When I say, hey, I have laptop stickers. Hey, how about a coding mug? Hey, coding posters. These are all things that I have a audience that may be interested in them and are going to be very perceptive. And even if only 1%, even if only 1% are interested, that's more than enough. And you continue on, and other people will find your products and things like that. But that's the educated risk. Could I lose all my money? Of course. Could I waste 3 months of my life setting it up and, be making almost nothing from it? Of course I could. But it is an educated risk, one that could pay off very well. But that's one of the things that are on the back burner right now that I hope to have up and running when this is up and running as well. So does a bachelor's help open up CS positions, even if it's not a CS degree? Yes, it does. A lot of companies, even if you are not a CS major, are just interested in that you're a what do you call it? A college graduate. And so it depends on the company, but that's the general rule of thumb, man. But yeah, so in comparison without one, I should say. But yeah, so. But for me, anyhow, coding does go hand in hand with business, and I think if you start thinking like that, and you start planning for the future, there are no overnight successes, right? That's the thing. Is just, I mean, there are very seldom. Most time, people are like, "Oh, he's an overnight success." Meanwhile, the dude's been practicing or working on this shit for 10 years, and finally, he got his lucky break, right? He's just been grinding it out, and so. So like I listen to motivational speeches and things like that on occasion, and one that I really like well, I'll come back. Actually, I have a video on motivational speeches I talk about, so we'll worry about that another time. You guys can wait for that video, but it's pretty good stuff. Why are lots of people making live streams? Does it help with algorithms on YouTube, or is it just a quick, easy way to make a video out without editing and that time limit? Seen a lot of people doing it. So the time limit is only if you're a small size channel, by the way. So like my channel, I could have a video up for like 48 hours or 24 hours, whatever the max is. So I don't think that's it. I think that it's easy. I think that it's engaging. I think that it's a cool way to get people interested. And I don't know. It seems to be well received. And it is a short time commitment. So As my time has become, my videos have always been very low edit qualities. But like say you do a vlog. Most people edit the vlog. It takes hours to edit vlogs. I'm gonna sit down real quick. It takes hours to edit vlogs, and what happens is that you may discover that, hey, I want to upload 2-3 times a week, and I want to have great looking vlogs. Okay, cool. You just don't have the time. All of us have full-time jobs. Very few people are self-employed off YouTube. And part of it is that, one, a lot of them aren't thinking of it as a business and how to get there. Now, if Engineer Truth, for example, he has multiple revenue streams right now. And because of that, he's able to be self-employed. Now, if he was not business savvy and didn't care about money, and he would be making about $36,000 to $40,000 on YouTube. In comparison, he's probably clearing about 150 to 170 because he is business savvy. So it all depends. So when someone says like, "Oh, is this business or JS?" is what it doesn't have to be one or the other. Is what I'm trying to tell you in life. Like it can be both, and it should be both if that's what you want, right? No one's saying that you have to have a business or that you have to have money be your end goal. But for me, money is a means to live the lifestyle that you want. When you have enough money, you make all your own choices. When you don't have enough money, you work for other people, and a lot of your choices are made for you. When they say, "Hey, I need you to work Saturday," you work Saturday. When you say, "Hey, I want to take today off," they say, "Okay, there goes one of your PTO days." And you say, "Okay, so how many PTO days do I get?" 10, 12, 14. It depends, right? And you say, "Shit, I only get 14 days off," and all this sort of stuff. And it's a lot of times that's on the good end. The bad end is like you get none or 3, right? So it all depends. But anyhow, but in terms of the live streams, to get back on point, that is I think it's just easier, man. It's kind of the same reason that I do the Ask a Dev videos. Is not only do I think that they're as someone who's trying to maintain his YouTube channel while learning skills and working on other things, because I just don't have the time to do coding tutorials as frequently, and so I've transitioned my content, which was always the plan, by the way, once I started working as a developer, to have a new style of content. And sorry, I'm having like an allergy attack. And 1 second, I gotta carefully open this water. I can't twist my wrist or else I'll rip the stitches out. And part of that is it's a low time commitment. I can share my knowledge with you guys and that video, although it takes let's say it takes me 30 minutes to put tags in, thumbnail creation, upload, all that sort of stuff. The video it takes to record 1 or 2 times the length of the video. So it's relatively low time commitment in comparison to, editing. Editing is the hardest thing. Adrian Battleflame, interning at IBM this summer. Any tips on making the most of an internship? My advice is to make as many connections as you can. People are more likely to hire people they like. It's not very technical advice, but something that is pretty practical. The other thing I would say is don't be afraid to jump into shit you don't know, man. Wherever they want you, go there and go elsewhere as well. Just start diving into everything you can and show that you're eager, hungry, and you're there to learn. They're gonna assign you tasks. Some may be busy work, and that's fine. But don't be afraid to ask. Say, "Hey, I want to work on some real shit." Matthew Haas says, "What is the threshold to become a digital nomad? Would a complete run of free code camp be sufficient? Is it possible after a year?" I mean, you can. So I was already doing freelance work before I really dived into. That was basic freelance work. We're talking like $15, $20 an hour, um, and and it wasn't very frequent. But it really just depends on how you can get clients. If you can maintain clients, and uh, one day I would love to be a quote unquote digital nomad, which is one of the reasons YouTube is so attractive to me, because it's one of the few ways that you can do it along with software, right? So I'm kind of in the best of both worlds, and digital marketing would be another great route. But all right, guys, I think it's safe to say that our guest is flaking on us. So I'm sorry about that. This is now just turning into a AMA. Sorry about that, guys. Sometimes that happens. 1 second. Let me change this. All right, so is it possible after a year? It depends, man. It all depends on you, man, because everyone's different. Everyone works hard to a degree, but how hard are you working, right? Like at yeah, it's entirely possible. It's going to be hard. I'll be honest with you. It's going to be hard, but it's not impossible. There's a lot of people, but a lot of times, a lot of the remote workers, guys, are guys who already have years of experience. That doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just going to be hard. That's all. And what is the threshold to become a digital nomad? You just got to make sure you got money coming in, man. That's the truth of the matter. Part of the reason I invest is to have monthly money that's earning me interest. I'm saving money, but it's also just it's earning me money so I can eventually get there, right? And I'm only at like $70 a month. With YouTube, that goes up to like $400. Not a big deal, but eventually I want to get that to like $5,000, $10,000. And if I invest my money smart for the next 5 years, I think I'll get there. That's the end game for me. Hey, no problem with all the questions, man. I enjoy it. That's what this is now, is an AMA. I'm sorry that the interview is getting canceled here. Take these out now. It's just us boys. So Word Boss PF says, "Hey, I got my first front end yesterday. How do I suggest I start freelancing? How do you suggest I start freelancing or find a remote job?" The first time I ever started freelancing was I put my resume on Craigslist in the resume section, and I got work that way. So a lot of people have no idea where to look for a developer in their price range. So like if you're a local business and you need a web developer, you're not going to hire somebody for $35 an hour. That's on a very low end. On a contract basis, you might be all the way up to $100 an hour. On a realistic basis, they're probably looking for the $25 to $15 hour range. So if you're there, Craigslist is a great place to do that. Yeah, I would say a good starting point for freelance work is building websites for mom and pop shops and maintaining them. A lot of it is maintenance as well. So what happens is, in my experience as a freelancer, is they usually have like an intern or they have someone at the shop who really has no business playing around with HTML and CSS or WordPress, and they break shit. And then they need someone to come in and fix shit. That was a lot of my work. And it was fun. Aim high, welcome. But that's fine to build up your portfolio. My thing is build your portfolio up. And someone asked, what's the number one job thing that gets you a front-end job? Other than knowing the skills, projects, man. A portfolio. That's really what you have to have. You have to have something to show them that you can actually do these things that you say you can do. It's not good enough just to put on your resume. Especially when you don't have any experience yet. how about finding jobs, searching in the U.S.? So I have a video, Matthew Hotz, talking about 2 job search techniques in my Ask a Dev series that I use to find a job. I also talk about, but to sum it up, 1, be willing to move. Be willing to move. And 2, I forget what the second one was, but be willing to move is a big one. And I talk about things that you can do on your LinkedIn and your resume in there that really help with that fact. Because sometimes you'll apply for places and they'll say, "Oh, what's the white pill bottle? Is there a white pill bottle behind me?" This? Is that what you're talking about? It's not a pill bottle. This was a 5-hour energy. Your boy's off the energy drinks and on the energy shots now. But yeah, I would suggest watching that video. There's a lot of great Ask a Dev videos that actually relate to searching for a job and finding a job. And that's kind of like part of the series as well, is to educate you about things like that. Have I ever tried working out? Yes. So I'm out of shape now, but your boy wasn't always. So about 2 years ago, we'll say 3 years ago, I went on a diet to put muscle on. I weigh 185 right now, and it's pretty much just flab. I plan on getting back in shape when my hand is healed. So I have like a gym set equipment I bought to get back in shape, and then my hand got messed up 2 weeks after. But I'm 6 feet tall, guys. I weigh 185 pounds, and 3 years ago I weighed 145 pounds. So I was pretty skinny. So about 3 years ago, I weighed 145 pounds. And what I did was I went on a diet and an exercise regimen it was a muscle farm. The plan was called the Get Swole. And it was a 3-month plan at that time. I think it's up to 6 now. And it includes diet and it includes exercise regimens. And so I did that for about 6 months. And I put on about 35 pounds of muscle. I was fucking looking. That was when I looked the best in my life. I had the 6-pack. I was fucking chiseled because I was skinny. So like when you're skinny, what happens is when you put on muscle, you just look like you're lean and jacked, man. I looked great. And so I didn't maintain that diet or that exercise regimen, but I plan on getting back in shape shortly once my hand is healed. But I went from 145 to about 180 of just pure muscle in about 6 to 9 months, probably was realistic. But yeah, that was. So anyhow, you asked a question. I am going on a similar diet when my hand is healed. So my diet is changing and my exercise regimen is changing, and I might even do some exercise videos on here. I don't know that I'll show myself exercising, but what I may do. This is what I'm thinking is I'll set up the green screen and I'll be in like I'll do like a twirl, right? And I'll be in like my boxers or something, and I'll show a before and after, right? So like I'm not overweight, but I'm not like if I were to let me see. So you can see I'm kind of I got the Dev 15 going on right here, right? And so I can work out and get back in shape, and I plan on doing it. The second I started, I hurt my hand. I did. So so every month I spent about $250 on supplements and protein powder. And to give you an idea how much protein powder I was taking in, let me pull up the diet real quick, and I'll show you the Get Swole diet. Just to give you an idea of this regimen I was on, because it was it was a fantastic diet that I was on, and like it was hard, but let's see here, screen share. Okay, guys, so this was the diet that I was on when I was working out. It's called the Get Swole. It's just through Muscle Farm. And It gives you a list of what meats and vegetables, carbohydrates, and fats you can eat. And hey, social artist, I don't plan on converting my channel from a developer channel to like a lifestyle channel. Everything I'll talk about, even when it comes to this, is how to apply it to kind of your professional life and why it's important. I occasionally do the videos where like, hey, I went to fucking Berlin, stuff like that, but none of that shit will ever be the main point of my channel. If I ever have an idea where I'm gonna do like a larger, go in a completely different direction, I'll start a different channel. But yeah, so they give you your basic diet here, and then this is phase 1, by the way. Every month you go to a new phase. So every morning I would have recon, which is like what it would do is it would help repair your muscles, and you'd have a scoop of that and water, and then you'd have 6 of the multivitamin pills. Whoops. And then you would have your breakfast. Your breakfast would be 3 eggs. By the way, I never ate so many fucking eggs a day in my life. 3 eggs, oatmeal, and a cup of fruit. Usually I could only actually get through the 3 eggs. I couldn't even get a cup of fruit or oatmeal because it was just too much. I would then have 2 scoops of the combat powder Muscle Farm, and I forget how many grams of protein is in each one, but I remember it being about 50 or 55 for the 2, so it's like 25 each. Let's see here. Yeah, 25 grams of protein each scoop. So every morning you'd have 50 grams of protein in your first protein powder, and you would add heavy whipping cream, 2 ounces of heavy whipping cream to it. That heavy whipping cream is the most deadly thing I've ever had in my life. You then have meat, 8 ounces of the meats that they have, and a carbohydrate. That would be your lunch, right? So now that's at 1 p.m. So we went from 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m. And I stuck to this religiously. Then at 4 p.m., you would have your next protein shake with more. So you're already taking in 100 of just grams of protein, and then your food, probably another 50. And then you'd have a similar lunch or similar dinner. And then you'd have your final protein powder along with, and by the way, this is just your meal plan for one day. And then you'd have like a Z-Core, which was like a sleeping aid repair. Because the amount of exercise you do, your body's destroyed. All right, so now let's get on to phase 1 of the exercise. That was your diet. You did this every single day for your diet on these times as close as you can, right? So diet or exercise. You have your pre-workout, which is your Muscle Farm Assault I took, which was 1 scoop. This stuff is great. I love this stuff, man. And then you have 3 other things that you take post-workout. That's your recon. This is separate from your other recon. And then you have your BCAA pills, and then you have creatine as well. So you have these 3 supplements. So in total, you have 4 here. Then you have 5, 6, and 7 different supplements that I was taking. And this is your Monday workout. You have wide grip pull-ups, flat bench, 5 times failure, 5 times 12, 5 times 12, 5 times 12, 5 times failure, 5 times 12, 6 times 12. That was Monday. You have your legs and abs. You have your arms. You have shoulders and abs. And and then you have 3 days off. Now, that was phase 1. Now, after the first month, you go into phase 2. Your diet slightly changes, not really. And you start taking in a little bit more new exercises. Phase 3, and I only did phase 3 because that's all they went up to. Phase 4 and 5 are stupid long. But anyhow, that was the diet and exercise I went on to. And I probably won't go back to that one because I'm not really trying to put muscle on. I'm just trying to get rid of flab. Yeah. So would you tell a developer that is going to a boot camp once every 2 to 3 years to make sure their JavaScript skills are up to date? Yes, I would. So the best thing that you can do right now is to make sure that as a developer, you are coding in the latest technologies, right? And so like right now, ES6 is really, you should probably be coding in ES6 if you're not already. And uh, I mean, you don't necessarily need to. If you're a developer, you won't really need to go out of your way per se every 2 to 3 years. You can just kind of find, as yeah, exactly as Conrad says, the current trends, right? What's going out? You'll see enough people using ES6 that you'll say, oh shit, I should start coding in ES6. That's how I know I need to start doing it. You'll see enough libraries picking up steam. They say, shit, I should probably learn this. You won't need to actually go to a boot camp after that. But for boot camp graduates looking to how to proceed, that would definitely be how I'd go about it. And it's kind of, you just feel it out, right? Um, huh. Um, so social artist says, any good ES6 art tutorials? I mean, there's a ton of them out there. Just Google and watch one from a YouTuber that you like. And do you think Free Code Camp is behind the time, not teaching ES6 from the start? No, I don't. I like that if you go to the beta, it's actually there to begin with. But also, ES6 is much more acceptable in the last year than it was the year before. And so now that it's being added to the beta, and there's so much basic JavaScript you have to get to, the worry about ES6 when you're just starting out is just kind of ridiculous. Um, so I mean, the fact that they've added it to their coursework, they've added a lot of advanced shit, guys, in their beta. You're talking about React Native, or excuse me, React Redux, React and React Redux. They've added ES6, regular expressions, things that are more advanced topics and libraries, and D3 stuff that they're diving in, man. I love every minute of it. So that sort of next level of lower intermediate is now becoming, I would say, mid intermediate, of terms of skill sets that are exactly what the market wants. So, hey, what's going on, Will? So you say at the hackathon we got some dudes on the team now. What are you talking about? By the way, I signed up for a NASA hackathon. And it was this weekend, so I wasn't planning on having this, so I didn't go. So I'm kind of bummed out. What do you mean you got some dudes on the team now? One second, guys. I gotta use the restroom. Baby? So guys, I got something funny to say. So, you know, I was saying we were supposed to have an 8 a.m. interview. I just realized. So I just realized. Oh yeah, you were all. It was an all-girl team. That's right. I remember. So I just realized I actually went 3. So the interview is at 11 a.m. PST, and I just had a brain fart, and the difference between PST and EST is 3 hours. However, I'm 3 hours ahead, not 3 hours behind. So what I was like, okay, 11 a.m. I set my alarms. We got to interview at 8. Cool. I go and I'm like, you know, he doesn't show up. I'm like, oh, that sucks, man. Sometimes this happens though. I went 3 hours. I set it up, and I'm 3 hours before. I'm 6 hours early. Is what I'm trying to say. Is this actually in 3 hours? 3 hours. I went full retard, boys. Mistakes were made. So we'd be here for another. Let's see, 5 hours and 20 minutes. Oh man, it's been a good time though. I enjoyed myself, right? Oh man. All right, guys. So we're gonna have an interview in about 5 hours. Oh man. All right. I'm gonna answer the last few questions, then I'm gonna go. Um, all right. Yeah, the guy didn't flake. I just went full. I went full developer. We'll say that. Never go full developer, boys. You go full stack developer. You don't ever go just full developer. All right. Yeah, I'm glad. All right, it's good, man, that you got some dudes on the team, because I promise you, when you get into the workplace, it's gonna be all dudes on the team at the hackathon. All right. So what happened to the interview? Your boy messed up, as we just went over. You tried your hand at C++ on solo learn. It didn't seem to adapt that well to more advanced concepts. I think the good thing about solo learn is it teaches you in a different way. The bad thing is that you can use it on your phone, right? They got a nice app. The bad thing is that I don't think a lot of people learn just by doing that stuff. I think they actually have to code projects out. I think that's how I learn, and I think a lot of people learn that way. Do you think size matters when applying for a job? I don't know what you mean by that. Is this like a penis joke? Mislav Majadzik, do you think free code camp front end certificate is enough to get your junior front end position? I got mine before I even finished. So it's about the skills you get, the projects you make, and on top of it, it's about showcasing that and learning new things with the basic skills that it gives you. Will I ever make Git tutorials? I'm horrendously bad at Git. I typically use third-party things. However, I am going to teach my girlfriend it, which means I need to learn it. So you may see one in the future. But yeah. All right, guys, last few questions. As always, don't forget to join our Facebook group, Code Tech and Caffeine. And if you want to support me, money is great. That goes towards the 4K. You can do that through the description, the super chats, all that sort of stuff. And you can also join the Patreon page. All of it goes towards the channel. I appreciate y'all. Let's see. April and I are going to go get our fruits and vegetables from a farmer's market. It's like a farmer's market swap meet. But you'll see me back here in a couple hours. I'll be back in a few hours, man. Hacking away. Hack attack. Damn, I can't believe I did that, man. I think his hand's messing my brain up, man. I messed up arrays yesterday when I was talking with April, and you know what it is? You know what it is? It was, at least that point is, I'm so comfortable with her that I'm like kind of relaxing and like at the same time trying to teach, and she's talking to me and I'm listening, and like what I have to say is I can't listen to anything she has to say. She's not knowledgeable in it, and then it gets me confused. Is what was happening yesterday. And now I just think I'm just tired, man. My girlfriend says I work too much. Does anyone? Hey, here's a question. Does anybody else, significant other, say you work too much and they're worried you're gonna get burnt out? Because my girlfriend says it all the time. Does anybody else have that? Hey, Bitco, what's going on, man? What's up is I started an interview 6 hours earlier than expected. So we're just kind of chilling and talking. We're going to do an interview later today, though, in about 5 hours. But does anyone else's significant other tell them that they work too much and they're worried that you're going to get burnt out and, like, fall apart, things like that? You know what I'm talking about? Single for life. Hey, that's not a bad decision. Nothing wrong with being single, man. Nothing wrong with being in a relationship. There's nothing wrong with having a friends and benefits situation. Your girlfriend jokes you're in a relationship with JavaScript. She lives in a different country, so it's really good to actually focus on it. I guess a lot of you guys are probably a little bit younger than I am. Very few. Does anyone here have a live-in girlfriend or wife? Very few of you, I bet. So there might be one in here out of 13 that has a live-in girlfriend or wife, I would say. Most of you guys are probably on the younger end and aren't doing that, and you shouldn't be if you're on the younger end. 33? Why the fuck is your girlfriend living out of the country? But good for you, man, for studying. I like that. So we got 20, 26, 18. Because women, yeah. I am 29, by the way. I will be 30. 30! 30! Every time I say it, it sounds less and less real. I will be 30 in October. That blows my mind to this day. What the fuck have I tell you what, man, I don't feel like I was an adult and like got my shit together until the last 2 years. When I stopped listening to people, and just started doing what I knew was right, that was when I became an adult and things actually started going well for me. But that's neither here nor there. But that's the truth of the matter, man. Yeah, I don't. Where has the time gone, man? Prepare for the Hunger Games. Hey, you know what, Joshua? Actually, if you'll see here, this is a little Kirkland 5-hour energy. We have stopped. So yesterday was the last day of energy drinks, guys. We are done with the energy drinks. We're starting early, man. I'm trying to get my health. Now that my fingers kind of jacked up, I've been, and I was trying to get back in shape before all this happened. I'm changing my diet around. So 5-hour energy is a little bit better for you. No more energy drinks, and it's gonna be rough, man. I declined myself this last week because I knew Friday was gonna be it. So on Monday, I normally have 3 energy drinks a day, guys. So I declined myself to 3, to 2, to 2, to 1.5, to 1, and today I'm having a 5-hour energy. Do you still play poker at all? So I played Ultimate Texas Hold'em on the which is a table game version on the cruise, and I made like $600, which was pretty. I actually got down $900. I got down $900, and April was sitting next to me, just like not saying anything, just sitting there like quiet and shocked that I was down $900, and I brought it back. I made $600 for the trip. But I kind of do want to play. Yeah, I kind of do want to play again. Can I make a video teaching poker? I could. I guess teaching Ultimate Hold'em. Yeah, it took me about 28 years to figure out what I was doing, 27 years as well. So don't feel too bad, Nathaniel. We're in the same business. But I also think that's Dylan, where do you see yourself in 5, 10, 15 years? Predictions. All right. 10 and 15 is a little bit too far. I'll say 5 years. So this is where I see myself going. And this is also why 5 years from now, I'd like to be self-employed, or on the very near to being self-employed. Not necessarily self-employed, but the option to be self-employed. I will continue to have a YouTube channel. I don't ever see myself stopping YouTube completely. I'd have to be making a lot of money for me to just give it up and guarantee completely. So I would expect my channel in 5 years to be probably at 150,000 5 years from now. Subs. If we don't experience any increase in growth, I think that's about where we're at. We're growing by about 1,500 to 1,800 subs, depending on the month. Well, we'll say 1,500. So what's 1,500 times 12? That's 18,000 a year. So we're growing by about 18,000 a year. And did I do my math right? Yeah, 18,000 a year. So you times that by 5. That's almost what's that, 90? So we'd be about 120. So to say that we'd be at 150 and we just maintain growth for 5 years, and usually what happens is you slowly increase, right? That's usually how it goes. As you get larger, you get more views, you slowly increase. So I plan on YouTube being a major thing in my life. I also plan on having different sources of income that are to some degree going to be tied to my YouTube. That could be my coding course that I'm working on. That could be my developer gear that I'm working on. That could be stock videos that I was talking about earlier, stuff like that, as well as YouTube, right? And then you of course have your job, right? Your actual job. And you could even say Patreon at that point. Maybe my Patreon actually makes me some money instead of covering my cost of stuff. It actually makes me some money. So if I get my Patreon up to $300 a month, that's a good amount. That's $10 a day. That pays for a lot of shit, man. So I make a little bit of money through sponsorships and things like that. And so 5 years from now, I hope to have all that set up, and I hope they are all making money. I hope my course is making money. I hope course or courses, right? Depending on how I set it up. I hope that that's what I'm looking for. My my YouTube channel's growing. In terms of career wise, I actually think I'll be making a career change. I think I'll be making a career change, believe it or not. Not from software per se, but one thing I've always really been interested in is, and I didn't realize it until I started doing these more of Ask a Dev videos and Tech Evangelist, is I think I'll be going from working as a full stack developer to being a tech evangelist. I think, which is usually like a step back. But what I would like to do is interview developers and promote hardware, throw hackathons, all that sort of stuff, and then I can code in my free time as well. And that might be a career change I make down the road, assuming that I make decent money with it, or if I make enough money on the side that it changes. So that could be something that's different. In 5 years' time, I hope to own a house, as well as maybe a second house in 5 years. 1 year from now, I plan on buying my first house. So we just signed a new 1 year lease. We're moving in 30 days. And at the end of that 1 year, I'm hoping that we have a down payment to buy an apartment. My advice for someone just starting out to work out, code daily. Every single day. Every single day. You do that, for the rest of your life, you'll be a developer. That's how you need to see it. Every day. Doesn't matter what happens. Every day. Surround your life with code. Whether it be posters and things to remind you, whether it be Facebook groups with memes and stuff, whatever it is, stay focused, code daily. You'll get there. That's the best advice I can give you. Where do you work and what do you work on? I can't really say the company just because you're not supposed to like market companies and stuff like that. There's a non-marketing clause in my contract. But I work for a company that helps facilitate military training events, and I write applications that help facilitate those military type trainings. That's what I'm doing. A kid? April's yelling at me because I'm not done. Do I see myself having a kid? No, not right now. Not in 5 years. I could be wrong, though. Did you have to get a security clearance? I had to be eligible to get one. One of my coworkers has their security clearance going through right now. They're going to put mine in once his clears. So something that I'm going to get more than likely. Why don't you buy some apartments and then rent them out to make some good money? That is one idea. I plan on renting out part of my property. When I buy a house, I'm not going to necessarily buy a house, just a house. I want to get a little bit of land with the option of building a back house, putting a trailer on it, renting it out through Airbnb, renting out, building a barn and renting it out to a mechanic to do their stuff, or a woodworker or whoever. That's one of the things I'll be doing with my property to have it pay for itself. Let's see. But yeah, so I mean, over the next 5 years, guys, I plan on diversifying my income significantly more than it is now, to the point where I'm self-reliant. That doesn't mean I'm not going to work for somebody. What it does mean is that I want to know that if that employer drops my ass, like I'm done being broke and not having money, guys. That's the truth of the matter, and being reliant on other people. I want to be able to be financially independent. That is my only goal. And I'm going to do that in any way that I think I can. And right now it is through a coding course. Right now it is through, I used to do journalism. I might write a book. It could be various other things. And I'm going to try and provide value for subscribers that are interested in coding in other ways. That's why I do tutoring and things like that. And these are where a lot of these ideas come from, because I'd be foolish not to want to, if I have a good product, I have no problem selling it. There's nothing wrong with selling something that is good. And you can know it's good when you're the one making it, right? And you're not just trying to, because the second I sell you guys some shit that's pieces of shit and doesn't do what it's supposed to do, and I just lie, it's the second that the way you make money, guys, isn't by fucking people over. It's by giving them what you said you were going to give them at a better value. And the reason for that is because to be successful, it's about return business. Any good businessman will tell you that it's not about the one-time sale, it's about return business. So what I mean by that is I give advice that's realistic in my videos. That works. I sell a course that will actually help you, that is not, that's for good value, that, I get a financial return on it, you get an education return, or you get the, to help me out. I create items that are cool, like stickers that you can throw on your laptop, that you know exactly what you're getting, that are high quality. All these sort of little things that I want to diversify my income and have things coming in various ways. That's what I see the next 5 years of my life being devoted to. And at the end of it, I hope to be financially independent. I don't necessarily want to do the digital nomad lifestyle. That would be fun. I probably would do it for a couple months at a time. I might go hang out with Engineered Truth in Southeast Asia or fucking Europe or whatever for a month or two at a time. But I'm a homebody, man, and I want to know that I will always be taken care of. And the fact of the matter is, you can't get that security when you work for somebody else. You can only get it when you work for yourself. And so that's what the next couple of years of my life are devoted to. Do I have any other? This will be the final question, because April's already angry that I went over time. So do I have any other interests or hobbies besides the things we know? So I'll just list my interests and hobbies. Coding, obviously, YouTube, trying to diversify residual income streams and things like that are my main hobbies. Anime is a big hobby of mine. Before I was doing this live stream, I watched the new My Hero Academia episode 4. I believe it is. I also game a little bit. I have a PlayStation 4 out there, PlayStation 4 Pro, fancy one. So I've always been a gamer, as you might imagine. Let's see, what other hobbies do I have? I mean, that's really it, I think, right now. I'm big on, I have not watched a new episode of Attack on Titan. No spoilers, please. No spoilers. So I am watching it, though. I haven't watched today's episode, I should say. I'm up to date up until today. I know a new episode dropped today. I'm also watching Dragon Ball Super. Those are my 3 animes that I'm watching. Yeah, man. I mean, those are basically my hobbies. I used to really like Legos. They're just too expensive. So like I always liked putting stuff together with Legos, but I can't. I can't watch it. Did I watch Mr. Robot? I did not. But I plan to. But yeah, those are my hobbies. YouTube, trying to make monies in various ways, and building things to make that money, right? Yeah, Mr. Robot is a pretty well-received show from my understanding. But right now, I mean, besides those hobbies, that's basically it. With that being said, guys, thank you. Don't forget to donate, support, all that sort of stuff, Patreon, and join our Facebook group. That's completely free. That's a great service. I appreciate y'all. I'm sorry about the interview and the brain fart, but I'll be back here in 5 hours, and we'll be actually doing it. So I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate the support.